Welcome back to the Gambling Chef Kitchen. Today we're going to be making Hoisin Firecracker Chicken. It's a one bowl meal, which means it's super easy. You just throw everything in a bowl, pop it in the oven, and you are done. So we're going to start by chopping up our onion. I already have the rest of our ingredients prepared, but I'll explain that to you. And I will show you a close-up in just a second. I wanted to start by showing you the onion because the way I slice it is a little bit different and it's a good trick for you to know. So step one, don't forget our knife skills, right? We hold it like this, put a thumb here and a finger here. I'm gonna chop the ends off quickly or slowly. You don't have to rush this part. Then I'm gonna cut it in half. Take off the outer skin. This kind of depends. Sometimes the outer skin's easy to come off. Sometimes you have to end up chunking off this whole first layer, which I hate doing because it always feels like a waste. So if you're more patient than I am, don't waste your extra onion. Or if you're not filming and having to be quick, don't waste your extra onion. You can also save that for stock. So traditionally, you'll see people slice the onion this way, right? Well, it's actually a lot easier sometimes to slice it this way. And that's because the root is kind of what's holding it together. And you're gonna find that you get these nice slices and it stays together a little more evenly. Your onion's not sliding around. Sometimes it'll slide around, I feel like, when it's done the other direction. And I actually really like slicing them this way. And it looks kind of pretty too. So I just wanted to show that to you. I'll go ahead and slice this other half and then we're gonna put the ingredients together and get the chicken marinating. Okay, it is time for the marinade. So into our bowl is going to go 1.5 teaspoons of grated ginger. Let me put that in here. Ginger looks like this. You use a spoon to peel off the outside and then you grate this on a microplane grater. If you don't have one, I recommend you get one, but you can also just super finely chop this if you do not have one. Then we have a teaspoon of dry mustard. This is mustard powder. It's available in the spice aisle. It's also an ingredient I definitely recommend you keeping around because it's very useful. This is an old school ingredient that I'm also going to recommend you buy. This is cream sherry. Cream sherry is very inexpensive to buy at the grocery store. You find it in the alcohol aisle, has a ton of flavor, and I have a couple recipes that have this in it. So a bottle is like $5 or $6. We're not talking about a huge investment. So this is 2 tablespoons of cream sherry. There's also dry sherry. Dry sherry just doesn't have any sugar in it. So if you happen to have dry sherry, you can use dry sherry, just add a teaspoon or so of sugar. This is 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds that I have toasted. You can buy them toasted, but I recommend doing it yourself because you're probably going to end up with a fresher product. And all you do to toast them is you put them in a dry pan over medium heat and you watch them and you stir them occasionally. And just when you can start to smell them and they start popping, then you take the pan off the heat and your sesame seeds should be toasted. Our next ingredient is hoisin sauce. So hoisin sauce is a sweet sauce that has some chili in it. It's not spicy, but it has some chili in it, has some other ingredients. If you had mushu pancakes, like mushu pork, mushu chicken, where they make the pancake and they spread the sauce on it, it's usually hoisin sauce. But a word of warning about the hoisin sauce you might find in the grocery store. A lot of it has a lot of preservatives and coloring in it, which is not appetizing to me and I don't think tastes very good. So I found this on Amazon. This is actually by a company that makes one of the most popular soy sauces, which ends in mon, if you know what I'm talking about. And this one doesn't have any garbage in it. So I would recommend doing that. Or go to your Asian supermarket and see if they have some brands that maybe don't have preservatives or other things in it. And this recipe doesn't have any sugar in it because the hoisin sauce is very sweet. And this is 4 tablespoons of hoisin sauce. Now we get to the firecracker part. Firecracker part is a Fresno chili. Fresno chilies look like this. So this is a whole Fresno chili. Now, this can be as spicy or as mild as you want it, depending on how many seeds you leave in. So I took a lot of the seeds out. I kind of tasted my pepper, like I just took my finger and dabbed it in the vein of the pepper and tasted it so I could see how hot it was. I took most of the seeds out, but if you like hot, leave some of the seeds in, add 2 peppers, totally fine. To prepare these, you just slice this top off, cut it in half, and you can take the veins and the seeds out. And I like Fresno chilies, by the way, because they have a lot of flavor. This is a garlic clove that I just hit with my knife to smash it, and that's it. And now we're gonna add our onion that we sliced a couple of seconds ago. Okay, and I'm not gonna mix this around before I get the chicken in here because I don't wanna risk that I don't have my ingredients going. And there's one last ingredient before we put the chicken in, which is our soy sauce. And this is 1/3 cup of regular soy sauce. You could probably use low sodium in this. I don't think that's gonna affect the flavor too much. So give it a shot if that's all you have in your house. Again, my recipes, these are not meant to be, set in cement. You have to follow every single aspect and measurement of my recipes. Please play with your food. I've said that before too. You really won't have as much fun cooking if you feel like you have to rigidly stick to a recipe. It's much more fun to use a recipe as a blueprint and play around and come up with what you like. If you try my recipe and you really like all the flavors and you're like, that was amazing, I don't want to touch anything, great. If you taste it and you say, I think I want more garlic or I want more ginger, please go for it. I'm not going to criticize you for that. That's how you become a good cook. Okay, so I'm going to add to this 6 boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And you could definitely, whoops, of course, that's totally typical of me. That's okay, I'll sterilize my counter after I'm done. You could totally use a whole chicken in here cut up. The reason I use chicken thighs with the bone in is because they are gonna have so much more flavor than like a boneless, skinless chicken breast or just a boneless, skinless chicken thigh even. You can take the skins off after you're done cooking, but with the bone in and the skin on, you're gonna get so much more flavor. Trust me on that. Also, those of you who are watching your budgets, which gosh, I think these days most of us are, right? The boneless, skinless thighs are a lot more expensive than the bone in. Like a pack of 4 of these thighs, I think, was like $5, which is not bad. So, check it out, see what you want to use. And I think that you'll find your magical spot, but definitely give bone in, skin on a try. So I'm going to call that good. And this is actually going to marinate now in room temperature, and you're going to put a piece of plastic wrap on top of this. And it's going to sit for 60 minutes before it goes into the oven. So we'll take a look at it after 60 minutes because it might have released a little bit of juice by that point, and I'm definitely gonna go wash my hands, don't worry, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Our Hoisin Firecracker chicken has been sitting now for about an hour, and I'm gonna go ahead and give this a toss with my hands. It has released some liquid, as you can probably see, and that is what's supposed to happen. The onions have actually also started to soften a little bit, you can see that. And I am going to pop this now in a 375 degree oven for 60 to 80 minutes until the chicken is done and the skin, you want all the skin faces up, the side up, I mean. So we're gonna cook this until the chicken is done and the skin is crispy. See you in a minute. All right, our chicken has been in for about 40 minutes or so, and I did stir the chicken once. I want you to keep an eye on those onions because they can get too crispy because there is a lot of sugar in that hoisin sauce. So make sure you keep checking every 15 minutes or so, give it a stir, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. The chicken is out of the oven and it is all beautiful, brown, bubbling, and crispy. And I am going to let it cool off for just a little while, and then we will taste. All right, this is kind of unusual circumstances because I'm tasting off camera, but there was a lot going on today, and I had to be somewhere. So I'm going to cut into this. You can see it's super juicy and delicious, and I am very excited to try it. It's so good. The skin was caramelized. If you don't like the skin, you can take that off, but it's so good. The flavor of the chicken is amazing. It has a lot of flavor because it sat in the marinade and then it baked in the juices. And the onions are caramelized and yummy. And you definitely could serve this with rice. It would be delicious. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Please be sure to check it out on my website, thegamblingchef.com, and all of my other recipes. And be sure to subscribe, follow, and like on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And I will see you guys next time. I'm going to keep digging in.